On January 1st, 2021, CAIR and the media thought they had found another George Floyd.
This latest police-involved shooting happened just blocks away from an incident that sent the entire country into a tailspin. For this incident, the crowd was not as large as when George Floyd was killed, but just as strong with their message calling for justice.
A small memorial has been put up here at the gas station where the confrontation happened. Tonight, protesters gathered in this lot. They marched around the block.
About 100 people gathered here at the gas station for that vigil, protesting the shooting before marching around the block demanding justice.
Next tonight,
within hours, the story went national.
In Minneapolis, the first since George Floyd was killed back in May. Protesters demanding answers as authorities quickly moved to release footage from the confrontation.
We are angry right now. We are frustrated right now because we said no after George Floyd was killed, but it didn't take that long until another body fell.
However, back in Minneapolis, evidence emerged making it very difficult to portray Dolal Idd as a sympathetic character.
Police say he was a felony suspect in, quote, a probable cause weapons investigation. And that is what led, they say, to the traffic stop that resulted in last night's shooting at the Holiday gas station on 36th and Cedar.
Felony suspect, what does that actually mean?
This afternoon, the Minneapolis Police Department released body camera video showing the incident. The suspect's car is the white one.
Idd in the white car, boxed in by police vehicles. As the officer yells, Idd can be seen holding something, and his window appears to shatter outward. Then officers fire at least a dozen shots.
This is right before officers started shooting. Watch closely at the driver's side window. You can see it appears the glass shatters outward, and then the officer reacts, shouts profanity, and within a second, you can hear several shots fired.
Stop your car! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Police! Hands up!
Felony suspect, what does that actually mean, right, for our community? What does that mean? Like, was he a felony being chased, right? How do you say that word without really contextualizing it to exactly what happened?
Callan, what do we know about Idd's history?
Mostly he's been convicted for minor traffic related offenses. A family member we spoke to who is out here tonight tells us that Idd was a varsity basketball player. He was loyal to his family and just all around a good guy. Lindsay?
The video is inconclusive. This entire operation now has even more questions today than yesterday.
We want police officers to have serious consequences for their use of force. Right now, they don't. Right now, they're given a great deal of discretion to kill people.
Callan, what do we know about Idd's history?
A search warrant and press release from the BCA reveal Minneapolis police set up a gun purchase with Dolal Idd the night he died using a confidential informant. The documents say Idd was going to sell a gun like this, a MAC-10 high-capacity submachine gun, similar to an Uzi.
Hands up!
Police say when they ordered him out of the car, after he tried to get away, he fired at them, prompting them to shoot. The search warrant says a handgun was in Idd's lap, and the BCA says the MAC-10 was in the car. According to the search warrant, MPD officers knew that Idd was selling firearms illegally and prohibited from possessing firearms. That stems from a 2018 incident in his parents' Eden Prairie home. Charges in that case say at the time Idd was not allowed in the home because he scares the children. But while in the basement where children slept at 1 a.m., he fired a shot into the shower wall. Bloomington police found him sleeping in a car with the gun in his pocket. It was reported stolen out of North Dakota. Court records show Idd had been arrested many times and had also been convicted of theft and drug charges. The search warrant says the ATF was also aware Idd had a stolen 12-gauge shotgun, and Eden Prairie Police told the BCA about his history. According to their records, Eden Prairie Police have had 19 incidents with Dolal Idd and 27 calls to the home on Lee Drive in the last 6 years. The search warrant notes that was also the home of his brother Muhammad Idd, who's currently in jail charged with murder.
Of course, there was racism, but in general, Jaylani's position was softening.
regardless of the criminality or the history, that people are people, and we need to take that into consideration.
However, he got a new lease on life with the Capitol riots.
We gotta burn them. We gotta get this shit burning.
It was now, somehow, part of the Capitol riots, and of course, George Floyd.
Welcome to an America that for the first time in a long time saw its ugly truth face a couple of days ago at the Washington, D.C. Capitol House. We saw what we have been saying over and over and over, the threat of white supremacy that has grasped this nation come to fruition right in front of us. The peaceful protesters that have taken over this nation since the killing of George Floyd are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere.
Yes, sir.
And we are going to continue to demand justice because...
And even though they hung a 15-foot picture of the man's face outside their front door, the difference between someone handcuffed face down with 3 men on top and a man shooting at police to avoid arrest somehow manages to elude the Council on American Islamic Relations.